Oh, Lord! Okay, Star Trek Into Darkness. 4 years, and it's finally here. Now let me just say, you know that scene in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle when they're talking about that feeling when you get exactly what you want? Yeah, that is this movie. I love this movie. Like, I am in just a positive, happy mood among just other crap just because of me seeing this movie. And that's because it's amazing, and that's because this movie is... And that's because this movie, I just never felt disappointed. This is exactly what I wanted after the 2009 Star Trek reboot. And I'm really happy I had control over myself, and it paid off because I limited my intake of you know, information about this movie and not watching too much and not really trying, you know, didn't spoil anything for myself. And I just went in, and it had the same effect with the first one, where I had a vague idea what the movie was going to be about, and just totally surprises came out of nowhere, and it's just a full experience. Just, you feel it. That movie finishes, and you're like, I'm so satisfied. It is the most, like, in the context of like a movie-going experience, it is equivalent to the complete opposite, just the total antithesis of what, in the context of sex, having sex with a hooker is like. If that's that one end of the spectrum, seeing Star Trek in theaters is just the most satisfying and fulfilling. This movie has the same flow and quick pace and style dialogue that is just so on top of its game, and there's just this on the same like level as the first one, where it's just this, it doesn't slow down, I feel, at any points, and it's just this very well-rounded movie that all of the characters feel like they should be saying the things they're saying, and it is hysterical at times, and it captures really great emotion, and just builds huge suspense and scope, and really captures atmospheres very well, just given all the different settings, and just knows, it just knows what it wants to do exactly, and then does it. And the cast, of course, is just perfection. They all work well, if not better together now than they did in the first one. They just have all these little great interpersonal relationships, and while some are obviously more fleshed out than others, one of the best parts and one of the biggest fun reasons of watching this movie is just the interaction between characters. It is so much fun to watch these people talk. I think Chris Pine really steps up his game. Not that he wasn't good in the first one, but I think the subject matter and material just allows him to go further here. His relationship with Spock and Zachary Quinto, and it was great in the first one, but now it's in a new place, and Spock is so much more likable now, because even though I loved his character, like, he was a pain in the ass, and now they worked on that some more. And Simon Pegg, I love that man. He is so great. I mean, with the first second, like, he shows up on screen in the first one, the movie just gets exponentially better, and now it's just, oh, so good. They actually give all of these characters, like different little kind of moral aspects to just not really explore, but, like, the fact that they're there just makes it seem, just have a lot more depth. So let's talk about the new additions to the cast, at least the big ones. We have Alice Eve, and I think I mean, it's good that they're adding another female role, and even though there's really not much of her in the trailers, I just looked at her and I was like, I feel like you're gonna be one of those just really superfluous characters. And she's much better than or at least the character just fits in much nicer than I thought she would. And also Peter Weller, who I didn't think it wasn't a weakness in performance. Maybe it's just his character, but I just... Like, if there was a weakest point of this movie, I feel like maybe it's him. Not to say that he was bad. I'm not really sure. That's the only point where I'm like, And then, Benedict Cumberbatch. Come on, let's just give him a round of applause just because he's awesome. Now with the 2009 movie kind of being, the build-up for the reboot series, they kind of had limited options with their villains, and I think, with Nero, they did a good job, but it's just a completely different type of villain, and they set up, with what Benedict Cumberbatch is doing, and they set that up very early on, that he's just this more dominant presence in the movie, but they make it much more interesting. It's not really the standard, hero-villain face-off, and I really like that. And he's just such a fantastic actor, and he's so commanding. He is terrifying. He really is. I mean, he very convincing and just so commanding. I don't want to compare it a lot to, and I've just been using the first movie as reference, not comparing point to point, but I really don't know if I like it better than the first one. I can't make that, and I don't want to. It's not like I'm like, oh man, this is good, and this. I don't even feel like that's necessary. They're just both so good, and I love them both so much that it doesn't matter. Maybe not even equal, but I just love them. It doesn't matter. In a lot of ways, this movie has much more ambitious components than the first one had, and I don't want to say flawed, but I guess aren't as tight because of those, ambitious leaps, I guess. There's just some interesting things. I mean, some are directorial things that Abrams does, just with style that I think are really cool, and then towards the end, I think he plays around with structure a little bit, and yeah, maybe because I feel like the first one is a very tight movie, uniformly, and this one, it has that for the most part. Overall, they kind of even out there. This is just the ultimate summer movie in every way. Please go see it. Please go see it in theaters. I don't know about 3D. I saw it in IMAX. It was fantastic. And because this is a great movie, and it's so much better, and I liked Iron Man 3, but it is so much better. It might be my favorite movie of the year, and I really want to give it a 10, and I'm really struggling to find a good reason not to. I'm just hesitant because I haven't given one this year so far. Place Beyond the Pines got pretty close, but not quite there. So listen, I gave the first one a 10, and I'm saying this is just as good, so I really just am struggling to find, like, a good reason why to not give it one, so I'm gonna give it a 10. 10 out of 10. This movie's awesome. Go see it right now. Everybody's like, oh, Enterprise this, Enterprise that, oh, what a great ship she is, but, within these last two movies, it feels like every time they encounter an opposing ship, it dwarfs them completely, and, they always just get the shit kicked out of them at first, and, I mean, come on. And then there's always those shots of people just viciously being sucked out into space, like when they blow a hole in the side of the ship, and you just see, these people just being torn into just the dark, cold death of space, and you hear the screams, and I feel like because they quickly cut from that, but who else just spares the thought of just how horrifying an experience that must be, and just what those people are feeling, because they are never mentioned. No one really seems to notice that they're gone.